Hello everybody, welcome to another live stream of our 3SHAPE's Dental Systems Single Unit Design Workflow. This is another live stream of Ask Us Anything. So, if you are watching the live stream or you are unable to catch us live, please feel free to drop us a message, shoot us any questions about the workflow that you've seen today, or if you have any questions in regards to what I will be showing you today. So it's going to be a free and easy live stream. It's going to be on a simple single unit workflow. I will go through from start to finish. How do we create a case, and all the way until how we complete and export a case in an STL file format in order to send to your milling machine. But this is going to be a basic live stream of a single unit. It's not going to be we're not going to go into so much detail. However, if you do have any questions that you feel I may have missed out, as this is meant for a basic introduction of a single unit workflow, please drop us a message, do let us know, and we'll be more than happy to answer that at the end of this live stream, or after this live stream we will be happy to follow up and reply all your inquiries or messages on this live stream. So to begin, 3SHAPE is a dental CAD software from Denmark. This is what Bio3D is distributing here in Malaysia, and together with BioLearn we were able to create these live streams in order to provide continuous education, awareness for customers who are interested to look into 3SHAPE, whether it's from the professional CAD/CAM technicians all the way to the beginners or the first-time starters, or who are looking to go into digital CAD/CAM dentistry. Okay, so what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna play a video. Okay, this video is an introduction of Dental Systems 2020, and these will be the things that you can get. These are the updates that have been brought to Dental Systems 2020. So if you are already a 3SHAPE dental system user, and if you have not upgraded yet to the latest 2020 version, this is what is coming out, or what is already out in the 2020 version. So please enjoy.
3SHAPE offers a strong portfolio of products for both the experienced digital lab and labs that are looking to go digital. Each year we give more value to our customers with new improved software. Would you like to quickly access the material for an indication instead of scrolling down among many materials? With Dental System 2020 you have the possibility to search for a material by typing its name in the search box. Once you've found the one you want, you can make it your favorite by pressing the yellow star. That means that this material will pop up in the top of the material list next time you're designing this indication. Dental System 2020 now supports import of multiple file formats. Besides DCM and STL formats, all types of PLY scans are supported: textured, colored, and non-colored. This enables you to import and design cases from third-party intraoral scanners, keeping color information. The PLY scan format is imported through Import Scan Dialog in Dental Manager, together with DCM and STL. Implant bridges, such as Toronto bridges, are some of the most time-consuming and demanding workflows. For Dental System 2020, we've created an all-in-one implant bridge workflow, containing all design options, enabling you to design faster. Furthermore, the workflow has full design flexibility, enabling you to design a Toronto bridge, leave a full anatomical crown, or choose Emax on the anteriors, and full anatomical zirconia crowns on the posteriors. It's now possible to merge a model with any type of restoration in the Model Builder for Dental System 2020. A new step in all Model Builder workflows allows you to merge the design with a model, or to make space in the gingiva for each individual restoration. For example, you can merge anatomy items designed for anatomical copings or anatomical abutments with the scan to get a hand veneering guide model. A preview of gingival cut settings makes the adjustments much faster. Designing gingiva for full dentures is one of the most time-consuming steps, taking up to 15 minutes of design time per jaw. With the new Gingivator 3.0, the design of an anatomically realistic gingiva just got faster and simpler. Use preset values or customize your settings to deliver a more natural appearance. Also being introduced in Dental System 2020 is the new workflow for manufacturing dentures using the iVotion disc from Ivoclar Vivadent. This is an innovative method to fabricate a full denture in one uninterrupted milling process. Users will be able to design the dentures and accurately place it within the disc. This manufacturing workflow will be exclusively available in 3SHAPE Dental System. Dental System 2020 provides an integration with global leading lab management system providers. Now the case information and status are synchronized across dental system and lab management systems. You will only need to enter information in one system, making it more efficient, convenient, and time-saving. Dental System 2020 will make it easier and more transparent for your TRIOS dentist to work with you. Dental System 2020 enables you to customize the TRIOS order form template to only include materials and indications that your lab offers. That means clinics connected to your lab will only see and order indications and materials that your lab provides. To take advantage of these improvements, ask your reseller to upgrade you to Dental System 2020.
Alright, so there you go. That is the introduction of what has been brought into Dental Systems 2020. So you can see a lot of great new features, things like for the implant models for the dental systems, and the new gingivator for our dental dentures, digital dentures that we can do. A lot of great new features in the Dental Systems 2020. So if you are still on the old version of 2020, do contact your reseller so that they can upgrade you to the latest version. Or if you are a customer of Bio3D, get in touch with us and find out how you can upgrade to the new version. Or if you're not there yet, let us come and help you upgrade to the new version as well. So a lot of great things that we have in the new version there. So I hope that's a good introduction for the dental systems. Okay, so just to get started now, alright, the main things that you see here for dental system, it's going to be these two guys over here. Okay, these two things. Okay, so we have the 3SHAPE Dental Systems control panel and we have 3SHAPE's dental system. Okay, and what separates the two? Okay, so on the left, 3SHAPE's dental system control panel. This is where you can modify, you can set your parameters, your cement gaps, you can create your own materials, you can import your own files, your own sort of attachments. It's basically the control system for the entire 3SHAPE's dental system. So when you work in a very big production lab, you can set certain settings so that you can maintain your quality control from start to finish. You know that you don't have to worry about a technician remembering settings such as cement gaps. You can set it straight out from your main system and it will be set across the entire 3SHAPE's system of all the computers that you have in your dental lab. Okay, one of the new features actually that has also came out for the dental system control panel is actually this thing. They call it the order form. So order form edit, this is where when you work with doctors who are using the 3SHAPE intraoral scanner, something really brilliant that 3SHAPE has come up. You are actually able to synchronize the materials that you provide in your dental laboratory. So when a doctor chooses to send communicate a case to you from their trios card, they can see exactly the materials that you provide. So when the doctor sends you a case through the trios communicate, you will be rest assured that the doctors can choose the exact materials that you have available. So there won't be a scenario where, for example, a doctor chooses a certain material, but then you guys, or the receiving end, the laboratory, does not provide those materials. So creates a little bit of unnecessary delays for the patient. But 3SHAPE has come up with that, where you can customize your own order form. It appears exactly in the trios card, and it also replicates in your dental system. So that would be much deeper into 3SHAPE. So we are just gonna put this back here. We're gonna leave it over there. Okay, so first, to get started, 3SHAPE dental system, same as everything, left click and we can open it up. So this is the 2020 version of dental systems. Okay, so the first thing when it pops up, there's 3SHAPE Academy educational videos. So if, let's say, we do not cover, Bio3D or BioLearn does not cover any parts under 3SHAPE's dental system, you can very easily go and view their videos on 3SHAPE Academy. So then you can expand your knowledge in 3SHAPE, you can expand your understanding in 3SHAPE's CAD software. And if you go to their YouTube channel, 3SHAPE has a lot of educational, very simple 2-3 minute videos, how to do copings, how to do crowns, how to do bridges, how to do digital dentures. You can find all of these videos on their YouTube channel under 3SHAPE's Academy. Okay, but for now we're gonna click close. Okay, so this is 3SHAPE's user interface. Okay, so basically it might look a bit confusing, but on the left side here, this is where we have all our orders. So we have orders for today, last 2 days, last week and last 2 weeks. You have your cases by the status, whether it's been created, has it been scanned, is it designed, etc, etc. And then you can filter all your cases as well to find. If you know the case name, number, etc, you can just put in the search bar and you can search the case that you are looking for up here in the top right corner. Okay, so when you are connected to a 3SHAPE's communicate, over here you can see that it's telling you that in this situation there's 183 orders in the 3SHAPE communicate inbox. So I will actually know that how many cases I have in 3SHAPE's communicate that I'm yet to approve. So with this, we will have to go through this and then we will have to approve each and every case. That's on the communicate side. Okay, then over here on the top left, this one over here, this is how we go in and create a new case. We can also go directly to 3SHAPE's control panel directly from here. Okay, and then the remaining example like 3SHAPE communicate and third-party partners that you can work with directly inside your user interface. So it's a relatively simple user interface for you to open up, get used to it pretty quickly and pretty straightforward. So what I have here, actually, the first case that you can see here, this was me just fooling around earlier today. So here you will be able to see the example of the case, for example. So here you can see that it is in color. So this has actually been scanned in the 3SHAPE's e-scanner. So this would be the E3 and the E4, either the E3 or the E4. One of those two scanners that was scanned. This is the demo case from 3SHAPE, so this is not my model. This is a 3SHAPE's model. If I go in and I left click, I can preview the order as well. So by previewing the order, I'll be able to see what the scans I have in hand. I'll be able to see the restoration. Okay, I'll be able to see the restoration that's has been done. I can see the upper scan. Okay, I can also see the antagonist, so the opposing bite. So this is taken in a true color. So let's say if I don't want to see the color, over here on my right, I can turn off the color. So I can turn off the texture, and now I can see it in something that I believe most people are very familiar to. Okay, so this is the upper the lower scan. If we bring on the color, what you will notice is you can actually see if there was pencil lines drawn on the margin lines, you will be able to see it very clearly. So in the cases where, for example, if you're doing RPDs, etc., that's where you would use a colored scanner, because you can see the pencil drawings, etc., of how you're gonna prepare your RPD case. Okay, so this is a case that we're going to be working on. It's going to be a simple single unit on the 1/6 here. Okay, and we're going to go through the workflow of how we are going to set up this case, how we're going to get it to what we have here. Okay, so what we have to do is we can right click and click on new, or we can go to this top left part and click on new. So new will then create a new case. This is going to allow us to create the digital lab sheet. So what's important is, of course, the patient's name. So let's just name it Learn, and bio. So bio Learn is the patient. Okay, and then lab information. This is where you can put your technicians. So if you work in a dental lab that has 5 CAD designers, you are then going to want to sort of separate and create each account for them. So the cases that they design, that they handle, they will put their name in. So if there was any communication or any issues with the case, or the doctor would like to adjust any design, you can very easily check back which was the technician that that has actually designed the case. So we're just going to leave it as Tech 01. Okay. Customer, this is, for example, if you want to send a case to a doctor, communicate through to the doctor. Comments, we can go ahead and type in comments as well. So we can say the lab admin can fill in the form and say, please design 1/6 crown, clear occlusal, for example. Okay, so clear occlusal, no high bite. Okay, so this is what, for example, the lab admin can go ahead and create, and then when the technician gets the case, they can follow it exactly. Or if the technician creates the case, they can just copy what's been written in the traditional lab book and digitize it by filling it up in here. Over here, we also have the ability to add pictures. So when you want to add clinical photos, JPEGs, okay, JPEGs is what you want to import. Alright, so let's say if we just go to, let's see, desktop, it's just going to be an example, something like this. We open it, and now I have it here, and now I can store it here. So if you have pictures of the patients, if the doctor does send the lab pictures of the patients, then they can attach all the photos into their digital lab sheet, so that the case is together with the photos as well. So in the scenario, if a doctor takes photos with the intraoral scanner, because the 3SHAPE TRIOS scanner is not just a 3D scanner, but it can also take 2D high definition photos as well. So if he does take those photos in TRIOS, communicates it to the lab will be able to find all the photos over here. So very nice feature, and it's very useful and easy for the lab to keep track of things. Okay. Also, wanting to note out design module. This is something interesting about 3SHAPE's design. So even though you're on the 2020 version, you can easily roll back to the 2019 version or the 2018 version. Why would you do that? For example, if you are designing for another lab and they are using a different older version, this is where you can create your lab sheet to be created on that version. So when you share cases with each other, it's not going to create any issues in terms of the software reading a different year or different version of the software. So interesting that you can do on the 3SHAPE's side. So here's pretty basic and straightforward. This is where we're going to then fill in the information for the case. So we got a 1/6. Okay, at the bottom here on the index, it will tell you the tooth number 1/6, 2/6, 4/6, and 3/6. Yeah, so 1/6. Okay, so once we highlight, there will be a red little ring around the tooth. Okay, if I select multiple, then it's gonna highlight more. Okay, so just by selecting, you just left click to select, left click again, and you can remove the tooth away. If let's say you have multiple, you right click you can also clear by just clicking on the outside of the tooth. But for this situation, we are going to go with 1/6, and we are going to choose what we are going to do. So what are we trying to do with this case is what we are going to fill in here. So we are going to be doing a full anatomical crown. It's going to be a crown, not a pontic, not an inlay, and not a veneer. Okay, so we are going to make sure that we highlight crown. When we go to the plus, this is where, if you create your own materials in your dental system, and if it correlates with the clinic, this is where you can also choose. So for example, we are just going to go for, let's say, a zircon. Okay, we can go ahead and choose a color. So there is the Vita Classical shades. There's also 3D Master shades. There's a lot of shades that you can have, and this is all fully customizable. So if you use the control panel, the 3SHAPE's control panel, you will be able to add in your own shades as well. So if you work with Evoclar shades, for example, that's not in here, or other shades, you will be able to put them inside here. So let's just say we're gonna go for a nice A2 for the crown. Okay, so crown zircon. Manufacturer, we leave that. Manufacturing process, we leave that. Okay, so just to get started, this is how you set up your lab sheet, and you can straight away click OK. If you have a 3SHAPE's e-scanner, you would go ahead and click on scan. This would directly turn on your E3 or E4 or your e-scanners that you have, the desktop scanners for the laboratories, that will start the scanner, and you will go through the entire scanning process. But maybe we'll do that on another episode. For now, we are going to do it the other way, where we are going to manually import the case in. Okay, so once we are happy with here, up here on the top, object types. Okay, so you have to tell the lab sheet, is it a digital impression? That means it could be a doctor that sent a intraoral scan that's not from 3SHAPE, it's using an STL format or another format. Then we will have to indicate that it's a digital impression. If, let's say, the lab wants to go ahead and scan direct impression, means without pouring the stone, then you'd select impression. And for our case, it's a model. So we have, in this case, the model has been poured out from the impression. So we're gonna choose the object type as model. Okay, antagonist we leave as antagonist model. If we don't have an antagonist, means we don't have an opposing bite, we would change this to none. So if we choose none, then we will only be working with the upper. However, for us, we will work with antagonist model. Okay, now we have another thing, neighborhood scan. Is the scan section or unsectioned? Section basically means that the scan has already been digitally cut where the die is, so the die is actually separate from the entire STL file. But if you scan your model and it's one entire STL file, there's no holes, the die is all connected to the tissue, the gum and everything, you would choose unsectioned. Okay, but for today's case, our model is sectioned. So I will be able to show you guys how do you know that it's sectioned or unsectioned. Okay, so let's go ahead and click on section. So just to double confirm, patient's name has been entered, design comments entered, crown restoration is chosen. We have chose anatomy, crown. Okay, and now we are ready to continue. So let's just click on OK. And now you will see they have another second case here. Okay, so the first thing that you see here on the left, this is actually telling you what is the status of the case. Okay, so from here you can see this is created, so this has been created. Okay, if you see the image of the icon of the tooth, then it's designed. Yeah, so it is important that you do also take note. You can filter cases by this. So for this case here, we need to import our scan file. So a simple right click will allow us to import the scan. Okay, we are not going to scan today. This is if we are using the e-scanner, but we've already done the scanning. So now we want to go to import scan. So once we click on import scan, okay, we are now going to choose the file that we are going to use for this case. So on the top, it tells you here, open preparation scan upper jaw, index on the 1/6. Okay, so I have to open the upper jaw. Okay, so important to take note, in 3Shape's dental system, we are able to import DCM file, which you can see here that has the 3Shape logo, and STL file, which is this file here. So if I just click on properties, okay, you can see here it says STL file. Okay, so STL file we can open. Okay, and the latest update in 2020 enables us to open a .ply file. So if your scanner or your intraoral scanner can export a .ply format, you can absolutely use it inside 3Shape's CAD software. So the color data from the intraoral scanner, you can carry it over using the PLY format. Okay, so let's just go next. For today, we are going to use the DCM file. So DCM, we're going to open upper. Let's go and click on open. And then what we're going to do next is then the opposing bite. Open Antagonist Scan. So take note, antagonist is basically the opposing bite of what you are going to be working on. Okay, so let's go ahead and open the lower. Okay, so very straightforward. When you import scans, 3Shape will tell you exactly what you need to import, and you just follow exactly what it's asking you to import. So now we have the scan. We have the scan imported right into 3Shape. Okay, so now what we are going to do next is, if you see, the icon is now changed to scan. So now the case is the software is telling us that the case has been scanned and it's ready for us to start working on the case. Alright, so we can right click and we can go to design. Okay, if you notice there's an auto workflow here. I will show you guys later, if we have time, what is the auto workflow. It's a great feature. We will get to it later. However, we are first going to start with design. So let's go ahead and start the design. So right click and then left click on design. So now it's going to open up our dental designer. So as it opens up dental designer, it's going to show us all this information on the designing software. Don't be so afraid what you see. It's very straightforward. The great thing about 3Shape is that they designed their CAD software to be very simple, user friendly. However, don't mistaken it for being, just because it's simple and user friendly, that it's not powerful. 3Shape can be a very powerful tool as well for your designing and stuff. Okay, so here we go. So the first thing that we're going to do is we need to prepare. So this is the prepare stage, and then this is the segmentation stage. Then we got the insertion direction, margin, designing the crown, and completion of the crown. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to actually position the patient's occlusal alignment. And this occlusal alignment is just going to be roughly placed. Okay, so by clicking on the red balls, I can move this around. Okay, it's not going to be perfect, but it is going to be roughly placed in our virtual articulator. Okay, so just roughly going to move this. Again, don't have to be so perfect. Okay, so something like that, perfect. Okay, as long as you're relatively in this area where you can see there's actually a highlight of like a stencil of the teeth. Okay, so you just want to follow that. Okay, so let's go next. So once that's done, we can go ahead to this stage, which we call Scalp Upper Jaw. And the Scalp Upper Jaw is actually a stage which you can modify the stone model that you are working on. So things like, for example, over here, if I use the plus, okay, my wax knife tool, I can add my material. Okay, so I can add my material. I can undo. Okay, I can remove material, and I can undo that. Over here, this is where I can control the size. Okay, so by pressing and holding the shift key and moving my mouse scroller up and down, I can control the size. So this is going to control how much I'm affecting. So the bigger the radius of that circle, the bigger the area I'm going to affect. The smaller the area, I'm going to affect. Okay, here is the strength, so how strong you want the tool to work. So again, the higher the micron, 55 micron, the harder it's going to push. Yeah, the lower the micron, and very, very gentle. So depending on what you are needing to do, this is where you can control the tool to control as best for you as well. So one of the nice things that 3SHAPE actually does have, for example, I'm not too sure if this is a bubble, but let's just say this was a bubble on the scan. Yeah, so what you can do in 3SHAPE, under your scalp toolkit, we've got this thing called a plaster. Okay, and what all I have to do is just highlight where the bubble is. So maybe when the technician poured the stone and prepared the case, you know, maybe they might have just missed out a bubble in the model. So once I've highlighted that, I go ahead here and click on the green button, and voila. Okay, it will remove the bubble away from me, from the model. So that means I will not get any interference in terms of my occlusion, and as well as when I use my virtual articulator, there will not be any disturbance in terms of the design stage. Okay, so let's move on forward. Let's go next. Okay, and next, annotations. Okay, so this is where we're going to indicate the teeth position. So for our case, we're only doing the 1/6. So what is important is we want to place our indications on the margins. Okay, so this is how 3SHAPE works. You have to place the indications on the margins. Okay, alright, so let's go next. Okay, so this is where the software is now going to determine the insertion direction. And with 3SHAPE software, it does a pretty good job at identifying the insertion direction, but sometimes you might want to modify it a little bit, change the direction a little bit to have a better fitting crown. Whatever you see here in the red, this is actually the undercut. So the undercut is actually where it goes inside, so you definitely don't want to have the red areas on your marginal area, because that can create more problems, so you definitely don't want that. Okay, but if let's say I need to modify the insertion direction, over here on the left I can move it. So here's indicating 2 degrees, I can change that, 15 degrees, and I can change it. So now you can see that this arrow here is actually indicating the direction of my fitting surface, the direction of how the crown is going to fit. But now the problem is I have a red undercut on my margin, so this is bad. I cannot have this. If I proceed with this, then my margin is going to become an open margin, and then as we know, bacteria, etc., plaque is going to go inside there and the crown is going to fail. So we want to avoid that. So 2 ways we can optimize. The software will auto detect, okay, or we can go ahead and manually angle it ourselves, or we can also use the set. So from the direction I look and I click set, now the insertion direction is following the direction I was looking. So if I just look top of this crown, I click set, and boom. Okay, so now we have something like this. Okay, so let's manually adjust it a little. Oops, 15 degrees is too much, but let's just optimize it to bring it back. Yeah, okay. So remember earlier I said section and unsection? This is a sectioned scan. You can see how it's been cut. So the die is actually separated from the entire STL file. So that is how you know that this case is sectioned. Okay, so in terms of that, this is pretty straightforward. We can go next now. And now we are going to move to the margin stage. So over here you can see that the software has picked up my margin pretty nicely. Do I need to do some adjustments? Maybe just a little bit of adjustments, but overall I would say 90% it's pretty there. If you're not a perfectionist, you can go right past this, but if you're a perfectionist, you can go ahead and we can still modify this margin line some more. So we can go ahead, bring it up slightly higher. Okay, so just for you guys to know, it is important. The software determines the margin line because of the undercut line. Okay, so the undercut, the red that we saw, is also what helps the software to see the margin line. So if I go ahead and turn on the undercut, you can see how the undercut is all around just below the margin. So when you prepare a case for digital cases, this is how you need to prepare your cases. You need to make sure you prepare your cases with this undercut, so then you don't have to spend so much time doing the margin lines. This is very quick, simple, easy. Technician that prepares the case doing the margin prep, get them to use the ball burr in order to create this undercut that you see over here. Okay, so I can continue to go ahead and adjust the margins. I can use my clicking option, so I can click, 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 or I can go ahead and draw. I can also draw my margins as well. So whichever works best for you, whichever you like. Different technician, different preference, just like ceramics, different brush, different preference. Yeah, so there's no right or wrong. Okay, so once we are done with that, we've done the margin line, we can go ahead and go next. Okay, so now this is where a lot of question comes. A lot of people will ask questions of, how do I know what cement gap to put? How do I know what extra cement gap to put? Distance to margin line, smooth the distance, drill radius, right? Everyone, most generally coming into digital dentistry, this is where a lot of question comes. The default setting in 3SHAPE is relatively good. I would not say it's great or perfect, but it's good to get started. That means your crowns will fit, you will have no problem, maybe slight little adjustments, that's it. But in terms of the fitting, definitely you will have no issue at all. However, if you want to tune these settings to your material, your preference, whether you like tighter fitting crowns or you want crowns with more cement, this is where it's all fully customizable. So if you use the default settings, it's okay. You want to do trial and error, so you want to mill one crown, one setting, another crown, another setting, another crown, another setting, until you can find that perfect settings. If in 3SHAPE you are ever unfamiliar and you have no idea what's going on here, just go ahead and click on the question, open this incredible technical document, okay, and then what you'll be able to see here is it will tell you what these settings are for. Okay, so you can see here that number 1, the margin area, is a cement gap. Number 2, this whole area is this extra cement gap. Okay, number 1, distance to margin line, which is the number 3. Okay, the distance to the margin line, smooth the distance, drill radius, etc., etc. Okay, so depending on how you want to modify this, you want to adjust, fill in the values, and then that will create what you have here. Okay, so it really depends on the material you're using, it really depends on the machine you're using. So what settings one lab has, it will not be the same for another lab. For example, many factors like the type of burrs they use in their milling machine, the type of milling machine that they use, the type of material that they use, all of this can affect the cement gap and cement spaces that is supposed to be set, adjusted in the parameters for the crown case. So in terms of parameters over here, this is something you start off with just a standard settings, and then you slowly start moving forward. You try one crown, try this setting, try another crown, try this setting, and then you slowly tweak to get that perfect setting for you. Okay, but we are just gonna put that and we are going to continue. Okay. Yes, also important, if you are doing a millable crown, means your CNC CAD/CAM milling a crown, you want to make sure you add in drill compensation. Okay, this guy here, drill compensation is actually going to compensate the radius, the drill radius of your burr. Okay, I won't go into much detail. We are just gonna focus on our simple single unit crown workflow of how we can start from start to finish. This we can talk in another episode, or if you have any questions, feel free to ask that. We can always call you back or message you back exactly what it means. Okay, so once we are done here, we go next. Okay, so as it loads up, now we are going to get to the exciting part, which is where we are going to be able to start designing our crown. Okay, it's not a bad crown, but there's a lot of things that we need to adjust. Okay, so over here we have our opposing bite. So from the other side we can see it's coming through. Okay, 3SHAPE has tools to show you how much. So we can see, oh, it's about 2 millimeters. No, that's not right. But we need to use this one. Okay, so the green one that we have here. Okay, so you can see how much is going through by negative 0.5, 0.2. We can see it's going through. So just some of the tools that you can see. Anyway, so color, no color. For me personally, I like to work without the color because I can see the clarity better. I can see anatomy better. I can see texture better. So this is not really something I work with all the time. I will definitely only work like this as it's easier to see. Okay, but over here on the left side, let's get started. Smile library, this is where you can choose a whole bunch of anatomies that you can choose from. So if there's a specific type of design that you like, oh look, this has a carabelli. If you like any specific type of crown, shape, size, design, this is where you can choose it. You can even add more in here. There is the 3SHAPE download area where you can download another bunch of much more designs of the anatomy. This is where you can download it. But let's say if I want to see the cup mature, I think this definitely is going to look like you want to do for a case that is doing a patient that has bruxism. Perfect design. But for this case, not really the best design. Something like this looks good. Something like this looks good. This is okay, but the anatomy is not as nice. This is actually pretty close. Don't get me wrong, this does look pretty close. But let's say if we go for something more detailed, this looks much better. So we'll go with this. Okay, we'll click on OK. Now we select our tooth. Then what we're going to do is we are going to position the tooth. But the first thing that I should have done is actually reset this entire crown. So let's go ahead and reset the design. Okay, so when you come in and design in 3SHAPE's dental system, sometimes it will come and it's already connected to the margin. So for example, okay, I can't go back anymore, but let's just connect it. Sometimes when you come into 3SHAPE's dental system and for there is a reason why it's already connected to the margin line. You can turn that off in control system, 3SHAPE's control panel. So whenever you create a new case, it doesn't automatically connect to the margin line. You can set it so it does not. So when you open the case, it's not connected. It's just a tooth. So for example here, the reason why you want to disconnect it from the margin line is because if I move it like that, and 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 I bring it down, and I bring it this way, and I bring it here, and bring it here, and I bring it here, you realize that the crown has now gone crazy. So you don't want to do that. Okay, so what you want to do is when you are first presented in 3Shape and is connected to the margin, unless the crown is perfectly placed and perfectly positioned, then only you would not do it. But when you first start, take it off the margin, because that's exactly what you want to do. Or the other thing is you can reset the entire design. So by resetting the design, okay, it will bring it back to this sort of shape. Okay, so here we go. What we're going to do now is I'm going to show you guys the different tools. So the basic tools are single tooth tools. The one that we have here is called the individual transformation. This allows me to lift up the tooth, bring it down, move it to the left, move it to the right. The red balls allow me to rotate the crown, so I can rotate it on this axis, and then I can tilt the tooth as well, so I can tilt it. Okay, the green balls that you see here, this is actually to change the shape. So I can pull it palatally, I can pull it buccally, I can pull it mesially, and I can pull it distally. Okay, let's go and undo all of that. Okay, what I can do also is on the crown, a shortcut key to do this is Control. So what I'm actually doing is I'm uniformly increasing and decreasing the size of the tooth, so it helps. So sometimes if you got a crown that's this big, sometimes you would do this, and then you would do that, and then you would do that, correct? But why do that when you could just do that, right? So easier. So a lot of shortcut tools that you can use in 3Shape's dental system, which does help make the life of the dental technician much better. Okay, so we have this over here. We also have an individual morphing tool. What we can do is, for example, I can pull the tooth in whatever direction I feel like doing. Okay, so I can pull it, I can pull it. Okay, of course you wouldn't do it like that, but let's say, for example, if I want to bring down the cusp, I can. Maybe it's too sharp and I want to bring it up, I can. Okay, and then if you notice, as I hover my mouse, you notice that when I get to the edge of the line, edge of the crown, suddenly the line gets darker. Okay, and I'll explain to you what that does. So for example, if I look at the buccal surface, okay, and I want to bring out the entire buccal surface here. So if I were to bring it out like this, it's only one point, and if I were to go through like this, wow, it's very difficult, right? It's very time consuming. So what you can do in 3Shape is you can look at it from the frontal view, but just seeing just the facial of the restoration, and when the line of the outer line of the crown highlights black, you can left click and I can pull it, and now it has gone symmetrically all the way through. So this will help to improve and make your design faster as well. So some of the nice features you can get on this tool over here. And then of course we have our most notorious, our knife tool. Our knife tool is going to help to add material. Okay, we can use it to remove material, and remember this is the size, so same like what we saw earlier. Okay, we can remove material, we can make it stronger. Okay, we can make it small, and then we can maybe do some designs for the anatomy of the crown, so we can make the anatomy very, very nice. Okay, so depending on how you use these tools, this is where you can really make full use of the tools that's offered in 3Shape. So we can add more anatomy, for example. Okay, so this is where you use your wax knife tool. We also have a smoothing tool. Smoothing tool is also really great. So these tools normally used on the marginal area, but we can use it to smooth our crown. So as you can see, you can smooth it out. Okay, so of course you wouldn't design a restoration like this, but just to show you what this tool does, you can smooth the crown entirely. Okay, so let's go back again. Software is going to be so confused. So now that's the tools. Attachments, we are not going to go into that. We are not going to go into this. We will also talk about smart tools. Okay, but first let's go ahead and position the crown. So I will first start by using the individual transformation. So what I always do when you first start for me, when you first start, I would prefer to just position the tooth. Okay, just position the tooth first. Okay. Just make sure that they all line up nicely. Okay. You wanna follow this curve of speed as well, so make sure that curve of speed is nice. Okay, we got some aesthetics as well. Another nice feature on the right here, this is all our viewing. So sliding these left and right will allow you to see or unsee certain things that you would like to view and not view. So if I don't want to see the opposing, I will remove the opposing, and then I can go ahead and I can do my modifications. I can adjust this. Okay, so we don't really have a bite yet, so what I can do here is I can use this scissors tool, and what it does is it very nicely just cuts the tooth here, and then I'm able to bring it down into occlusion, so I can make sure I have the correct bite for this patient, the correct occlusion as well. Okay, so now we got some occlusion there. Okay, let's just make sure it's not too bulky. Slightly a little bit bulky, so I'm gonna just bring it in a little bit. Yeah, we're gonna line up our fossa as well. That's nice. Okay. So incisor edges, buccal incisor is a bit long, so what I would do is I would raise it up. So using the individual morphing, I will just grab the black and then I'll go ahead and lift it up a little bit. Bring this down a bit. Okay, let's bring this up a bit. Okay, so I am using a little bit of some shortcut keys. So you saw this arrow pop up. So what this actually does is it's actually showing me the direction that I'm pulling. So if I left click, all I have to do is just move my mouse forward and back, and it will follow exactly that arrow direction. Yeah, so example like here, it's a bit sunken, so I could lift it like this, or I could use the tool and just bring it in that same direction. So far we've only been designing this crown. I have not connected it to the margin. When do we connect it to the margin? We will find out. We will all find out together. Okay, so let's just modify this a bit. So we can see here is a little bit dropped. So let's go ahead and bring this up a bit. Okay. So here's a bit sharp, so we will change it to make it smaller, not so prominent. Okay, so we've got something like this roughly, yeah. Okay, then what we can do is we go ahead and smooth these parts here. Okay, so one thing that is also good to note as well is the crown's minimum thickness. Okay, so all restoration has a minimum thickness. We want to make sure we don't go below that, so we're gonna go ahead and see that. So now we can go ahead and remove this. So this is just pretty much what I like to do. Okay, so we just add that. Now that's done. Okay, so crown is in a good position, good angulation. We could do a bit more adjustments, but I may be here for a little bit longer, and we are sort of running out of time, so I'm gonna just lift this up. Contact's good. So now I'm just gonna go through the smart tools. Okay, so with the smart tools we can actually control the desired distance to the opposing bite, so we can get rid of this. So if we set it at 0 and I press play, this will disappear, so it will clear the bite for me. Okay, so automatically it can clear the bite for me. Now we're looking at the neighboring contacts. So neighboring contacts, if let's say desired distance to neighbors, we can go ahead, put a negative 0.02, and it will clear the contacts for me. So that means I don't have to manually remove the contacts. I can just easily go in, use the smart tools to remove any of those contacts. Okay, so there we go. That's pretty much a crown. Now let's go ahead and check the bite. So we would use the virtual articulator. We are definitely not going to go in depth with this. This would have to be another time. And we just have to click on play, and we can see the arch moving, the mandibular moving. Okay, so where it's yellow means there's contact. Adapt design is going to clear that away for me. Click play again, and now we have no more contact. Now I want to see contact. Guided by design will show me the contact. So now I can see the contact over here. Okay, so if I need to make any further adjustments, I would go in, I would adjust, and adjust the bite a little bit if I have to, and if I need to make any more further adjustments. So once I'm done here, if I'm very satisfied with the design that we have here now, let's go ahead and click join the margin. Okay, so default is 0.08. You would not mill this margin if it's zirconia at 0.08, or else you're going to have a lot of chipped margins. So you definitely want to put this at about 0.15 or 0.2. It's much better to have a thicker margin to be safe, so it doesn't chip while milling. So now we've got our margin perfectly connected to our restoration that you can see here. So once you've connected it, you can still modify. So I can still go in, modify it a little bit, make it a little bit nice as well. Okay, and that's it. We have our crown designed in 3SHAPE's dental systems. Okay, so very basic introduction workflow of how a single unit crown can be done. If you guys are interested in these sort of videos, do let us know. I will be more than happy to create more content for you guys to see as well. But let's say if we're happy with this, we can go next and save our design. So once it's saved, we can see that there's a nice green tick here. And then if we click on lift indications, we can lift up our restoration and we can put it back down. We can lift it and put it back down. We can see it in color. We can see it with the bite. We can even give the tooth a fake tooth shape if you're interested. But this is a single unit designed in 3SHAPE. So you can see the workflow is very, 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 very simple. It's very straightforward. It's very easy to use as well. It's not too challenging to use 3SHAPE's software. However, it does look pretty straightforward in terms of the software and the designing. So once I click on close, that's it. I'm able to go ahead and see my designs over here. Okay, so once I hover up here, this is my design. I can see it. Perfect. Okay. If I right click, advance, explore cam, and now it's over here. Open with 3SHAPE. So this is an STL file that 3SHAPE generates, and now I can import this crown into any of my CAM software that can receive STL files. So there you have it. That's how we do a simple, straightforward single unit crown case. if you do have any questions, please feel free to ask any questions right now. I will give it a few minutes. If you guys have any questions, please send it over to us. I'll be more than happy to answer any of those questions that you have right now. So I'll just be on here for a few more minutes. All right. Okay, that was pretty quick. So, got a message from one of a technician, maybe, I'm not too sure, but we got a message. And one of the question is, if you already have a scanner that is not 3SHAPE, can you use this software? Well, simply to answer that, yes, you can. 3SHAPE is a full open system that works perfectly fine with any other software scanners out there, as long as your scanner can export in STR file. Okay, as long as your scanner can export in STR file, 3SHAPE will be more than happy to accept your scan. So just because you don't have a TRIOS scanner, or just because you don't have a desktop scanner like the E3 or the D2000, for example, it doesn't mean you can't work with 3SHAPE. You can work with 3SHAPE. Remember, STL file can be imported into 3SHAPE, DCM, which is 3SHAPE's file, and PLY. So STL and PLY formats is what's third-party scanners. Okay, so yes, third-party scanners can definitely work with your 3SHAPE system. So if you already have a scanner, whichever brand that is, you can more than happy adapt using the 3SHAPE's software in order to do your CAD design. Okay, so just give it a few more minutes and I'll see if there's any more questions. If not, then I will be heading off. Okay, so we have another question. This question says, how long does it take to design a full crown from start to finish when you know the software? So I am assuming that, I believe that you've been using 3SHAPE for some time already. You're pretty confident with 3SHAPE. You know the tools inside and out. You would like to know how long it takes. So in the 3SHAPE software, you can design crowns in less than 5 minutes. You can design crowns in 5 minutes. That is the possibility. If you're a good technician, you really know your tools and you really know how to use the software and all the how to take advantage of the tools inside the software, you can easily do crowns in 5 minutes. 3SHAPE does have that auto workflow feature that is in dental system, and what it actually does is it can actually automatically do the margins for you and automatically do the design for you. That is available in 3SHAPE, so that takes a few minutes and it's even faster, but that's for crown and bridges. But if we are just talking in terms of a single unit crown, we could be looking like less than 5 minutes, so around 5 minutes to do a crown case, which is pretty fast and efficient. So that's how fast and simple 3SHAPE software can be if you're starting up, or if you're a high volume lab. This is exactly what you can go towards 3SHAPE being fast for you in terms of designing. Okay, so just see if there's any 1 or 2 more questions left. If there's no more further questions in the next minute, we are then gonna close up. Alright everybody, so I guess there's no more further questions. If let's say you were not able to join us for our live session, please leave us a message. If you've watched this again after our live session, drop us a message, drop us an email. You can contact us through our social media or through our email, and please do let us know if you have any questions. We will be more than happy to answer. We will be more than happy to find the right person to answer any questions you may have about the 3Shapes workflow or the 3Shapes software. And then let's go ahead, let's continue. And I would just like to say thank you to everybody that's watched our live stream, or thanks to the viewers who've also watched our recording as well. And I hope you have a nice day, and till next time, goodbye.